And unfortunately, when you're talking about I'm healing, it's a woman thing. Men don't say like that. But you
They don't say stuff
often
like what?
I'm healing.
Oh, they do
I'm sorry.
now.
Well, straight men don't. My bad.
They
That's
do now. Oh yeah.
that's well, okay. Masculine straight men don't.
I don't hear
We're
men
gonna
say
get there.
that.
But and then just it seems like with a lot of women, like victim identity feels better than growth. Like so it's easier to be a victim. So I'm healing because of something that happened to them when a lot of the time stuff that happened to them was at their own hand.
I was talking about the differences between excuses and reasons, and I bet just to kind of give you the abridged version, we'll just say I think that most people who have excuses are the ones who um, don't want to do what it is that they want to do. Most people use excuses as reasons in a nutshell.
Um, I can agree with that because oftentimes when it's a reason for something, usually you will see something different after you address it. Um, because sometimes people don't know what they're doing. People sometimes there is a misunderstanding of what happened. People take things a certain way. There is a reason why people do what they do. The excuse is when people live in it. Like they don't care how you feel about it. They don't care to change it. They don't care how it affected you, but they want you to forgive them. And so they just want you to forgive and move on. I just want to tell you this so we can just forget it. And that's it. Instead of, I mean, a reason is something that you can work through. Comes from, a reason leads to some type of change behavior, or at least some type of understanding at the end of it. So I guess I can agree with that.
What about the aspects of like where social validation it seems to reward this dysfunction in people? And unfortunately, when you're talking about I'm healing, it's a woman thing. Men don't say shit like that. But you
They don't say stuff
often
like what?
I'm healing.
Oh, they do
I'm sorry.
now.
Well, straight men don't. My bad.
They
That's
do now. Oh
oh
yeah.
that's well okay. Masculine straight men don't.
I don't hear
We're
men
gonna
say
get
that.
there. But and then just it seems like with a lot of women, like victim identity feels better than growth. Like so it's easier to be a victim. So I'm healing because of something that happened to them when a lot of the time stuff that happened to them was at their own hand. They tolerated whatever the behavior was. They were active participants in the behavior that hurt them. They're having to heal from. So I think when anytime someone says I'm healing or uses like therapy language without therapy discipline, it's an excuse.
Now that last sentence I can definitely agree with.
It's very popular to use it. It's very popular to talk that way. But I'm not sure how popular it is to like for people to actually be doing what they have to do to quote unquote heal.
See, we already know only women talk about healing. We already know only women talk about healing. But of course, this video right here is going to prove how your women are disingenuous. How when they understand that it's only women who will say it, they will try to kind of shift it and say, nah. They're not real. They're not this. Now, granted, I would give it to Bo. She did to some degree admit, that when women is off the chain, but there are men doing it now, right? But we will prove that is a freaking lie, right? But once again, we always hear women talk about their healing, talk about they're going through the healing journey, yada yada yada, but yet they can never find a man, they can never remarry, because when they get back into another relationship with a guy's looking like, okay, did you really do any changing? Did you really do any healing? Because it just feels like, from what we are seeing, that's the only thing we can base our opinion off of, what we're able to see. And if we're constantly seeing a bunch of women, mainly a black woman, jumping on the internet talking about healing, this, that, and the third, but yet there's still still the most divorced, right? Still the least married, but yet somehow, some way, 70 to 80% of them are single mothers. That should just tell you that whatever little healing journey that they claim to be going through, it's not working. And see, here's what I will say, right? Because nobody really is going to point it out on the panel, because that's just not a can of worms that anybody's on the panel is really going to open up, because, we kind of want to be respectful. I get it, right? I get it. But guess what? I'm going to say it on this channel. We might as well be transparent. When you look at somebody like Bo, that's a great example. Why isn't she remarried? Right? She's been in marriage for a long time. Why isn't she remarried? But guess what? Shout out to our boy Darn. He called her out one time on a panel, and she said, man, because he had told her that she had a failed marriage. And what did she say? If you had to divorce, the marriage was failed, right? But she says, man, listen, she's living in her perfection. She's living perfectly. I'm gonna see if I can try to throw the video up here, right?
Like me, who done that, is able to have a lasting marriage versus yourself, who failed at marriage because you didn't think about these things.
Let's talk about divorce.
Excuse me.
Let's talk about your divorce. Did you want to talk about my divorce? Let's talk about divorce.
I wasn't finished talking.
No,
excuse me, I wasn't finished talking.
Let's bring up your
excuse me, I was not finished talking.
What's your first wife leave you?
Excuse me, let me
Why
finish
your
talking.
first wife leave you,
I
Darwin?
should let you know that it's poor etiquette to interrupt when somebody's talking. I'll let you finish talking. Can you let me finish talking?
You keep bringing up my divorce.
Can you let me finish talking?
You keep bringing up my failure.
Can
when
you let me finish
failed
talking?
Also,
you're showing your true nature, man. Just let me finish talking, and I won't interrupt you when you talk.
That's fine.
Thank you. If you don't want to hear it, you can remove yourself.
I want us to be on the same page of our failures.
We're not on the same page. I'm a married man. You're
well.
living in your failure, and you're trying to shoot. You're trying to shoot.
In your failure too.
You're living in your failure.
You know how
right
you
now.
living in your motherfucking
You're living in your failure.
Let's see now. We finna do this.
Can you please just let me finish talking? I've respected you whenever you were talking. But you barked up the wrong tree, and now your panties is wet right now.
Let's
so
talk
go ahead
about
and
your divorce, Darwin.
You can just be quiet. You can be quiet and let me finish talking.
Okay,
you can have the floor.
Here's the thing. I don't submit to you.
Can you have some decorum and let another panelist talk? I respected. I respected the platform, not necessarily you. I respected the platform to allow you to finish speaking, so that the podcast continue to be effective for those who want to listen. But what you're doing is you're being a statue in New York. You're being that overweight statue in New York right now.
Let's talk about our failed marriages.
Can you let me finish what I was saying, and then you can ask. Can you let me finish what I'm saying? And you can ask me questions about failed marriage.
No, because you brought up me and my failure. So
I'll let you go ahead and talk. You go ahead and talk.
No, let's talk about your failed marriage as well. You keep talking about this successful ass marriage, and just because I have not married again, I'm living in my failure. I'm living in my fucking success. I chose myself. That doesn't have shit to do with anything. But let's talk about why the fuck you got left. Did she file or did you file? Let's talk about this, since you always want to bring up somebody's divorce. Because you are a divorced man. Your ass got left or left. We don't know.
Are you finished talking?
So don't bring up my motherfucking divorce again. Don't bring up my divorce again.
Can I finish saying what I was saying?
But she was upset by that. She was really upset by that, and you just kind of have to ask, okay, well, you didn't have a divorce, and you're saying you're living perfectly after the divorce, this, that, and the third. You would assume that she is healed. You would assume that she made changes. Okay, then, right? Because that's what healing means, right? Healing means that, man, well, listen, whatever trauma, whatever past I done had, I done healed from that. I grew from that. Now I know how to manage that stuff, right? Now I know what I need to do moving forward. So it's like, okay, that's great. But then when you look at Bo, you would think that she did the exact same thing. But then when you get her on the panel, you're just like, hold on, man. You just sound like every other black woman that's bitter and that will just avoid accountability and absolve every other woman from accountability. A great example is, once again, she will hold men and women accountable, or just hold men accountable, but she won't hold women accountable. Once again, that's not healing, right? If anything, you're just kind of stagnant, right? And this is why you also hear saying single women, keep other women single, but yet all of them are healed, correct? Doesn't make any sense. If all of these women are healed, then why are we talking about women still being single, right? Why are we having that saying? And then what's even funnier, right? Because these women want to act like this is not the case. Look at TikTok, guys. Let's look at the TikTok. Look at the TikTok, people. Just go ahead and just look at it. We're just kind of just scrolling through and we're just seeing nothing but sisters talking about healing. You literally just type in the word healing in TikTok. Is going to pull up a bunch of women. But guess what, man? You're still gonna have sisters saying, well, TikTok is over here pushing this. It's propaganda. They're just trying to push a narrative that only black women talk about this, that, and the third. But it's just like, once again, who are the main ones that's behind it? You're a black woman, right? You're talking about, hey, well, they're using this because they're trying to use us as a poster child for this stuff. You're talking about using you as a poster child for a female ran app. This app is made for women. So once again, all this does is just kind of show that, hey, well, a lot of your women claim to be healed and they're not healed, because I bet you all of those videos that we just saw, all of those videos that we just saw, are a bunch of women who are single who claim to have healed. But let's continue.
Okay, so when it comes to the I'm healing thing, I've kind of said this before, that you'd have to watch the person's actions. If you, as one of the wisest things that you can be as a person is a person who understands you really don't know anything, right? So a true wise person understands they know nothing. And so if you go into any situation believing that you just know based on what somebody says, what they mean and what it is and what it's about, then you are going to end up a fool in most situations. You just kind of have to watch the actions and the behavior of what is actually being portrayed to you, and then you can make that decision. A lot of times when y'all are talking about who's saying I'm healing, you're not even talking about people you've met in your real lives. You're talking about people you maybe talked to on the internet. Like, you're not even actually talking about real life people you've been able to watch their behavior. You've been able to see things carry out. You've been able to see it over time. You've been able to see a case study of it. Like, oh, this is what happened. They said this thing and I've been able to see how it came to fruition. No, you're speaking about online conversations. These are parasocial. They're not real. Right now, we're all giving a representative and we're saying things that may sound good and may be a soundbite, but it's not, nobody's able to verify any of it. So to say that if somebody says I'm healing, this means this, is just a little bit ridiculous.
You don't think you made an assumption on information that you don't have, that we're talking about parasocial relationships versus people we actually know?
Oh, I'm definitely making an assumption. I said, I don't believe you met these people in real life. You could prove me wrong. You could say, yes, I met 32 people who said I'm healing and I've been able to observe that it's BS.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I mean, I don't think that anybody on the panel would tell you the amount of people on the internet they've consumed saying that, or in person they've consumed saying that. But I think it's safe to say that our opinions are based on our holistic understanding and perspectives of what we've gathered. I don't think people are going to tell you, oh, I've heard 32 people on the internet. Can you tell me how many people on the internet I've heard say it?
I don't think you're grasping my point. If you're I don't know where holistic came into it, but the fact of the matter is, I stated, you are not able to create a full picture of what somebody's actual actions are behind them stating the word I'm healing, because as you both admitted, it is trendy. It's what people are saying online. You are unable to verify or qualify how they are healing. And so we're talking about something that is trendy, and you're making an assumption, because you said, I think overall, when people say this is excuses. Overall, when people say this, that's simply not true. It's not the case, because you're not able to verify how many people in real life you've heard say this thing and you've been able to see that's BS. How many?
So you've just said it's not true. How can you back that claim up?
How many is my question.
You just made a claim, right? You said it's not true.
My question was, how many people have you heard say this statement in real life and you've been able to see that it's BS? How many? That's my question.
Yeah, I don't think it's reasonable to ask me that question. I don't think it's reasonable to ask me how many people I've heard on the internet say it or in person. I think that's extremely unreasonable. And if you or I gave it a number, I think that would be disingenuous. If you said, oh, I've heard 3 people, I've heard 12 people say it, and I think that would be disingenuous. I don't think any of us can recall exactly how many people we've heard say that.
I didn't ask about online though. That's the thing. Because as I said, these parasocial relationships are performative. That's why I'm asking about real life. But I'll land it there because I don't think you're able to qualify, which goes back to my point. Since you're not able to even say, hey, I've talked to 3 or 4 people in the last 4 months that said it, then once again, as I said before, you're making an assumption off of what you hear on a trendy talking point online. That's what I'm saying.
That's fair, right? But I'm willing to say that that's my opinion based on my perception and what I've learned from what I've gained from experiencing people versus you who just flat out said what you guys are saying is not true. So my question is, can you actually prove that it's not true? I haven't made a claim like that. You did.
Okay.
The part where people, so, I said the therapy language without therapy discipline, that's where you see women using words like trigger, protecting my peace, trauma response, self-regulation, emotional intelligence. That's where all of that shit comes from. It doesn't come from anything they've experienced in their life. It comes from regurgitated talking points they hear on these panels and these echo chambers where, these women largely, and we said feminine men tend to go congregate and flock to because it makes them feel better about being pieces of shit. Excuse me, not being good people or being damaged. So, misery loves company. So unhealed people want to go hang out with unhealed people and use other unhealed people to validate and make them, well, it's not their fault. It's not your fault you had to take miles of dick because your daddy didn't love you. My dad didn't love me either, and I took a mile or 2 of dick myself. Like, they commiserate and then try to trauma bond, again, therapy language, to make themselves feel better.
Yeah, so essentially you just proved my point again. You just said panels online.
I use that as an example. I didn't say that was the only talking point. I didn't say that was the only information.
I allowed you to finish talking.
Why are you interrupting? That it came from. Like, no, I said panels because we're on one. It was the most pertinent and relevant point to what I'm saying. I didn't prove your point.
Yeah, one mic, y'all. One mic.
Yeah, I don't understand why you're doing that. I let you finish talking. Anyways, so you just proved my point that it's online conversations you're hearing and deciding no one is doing the actual work because you think they're trauma bonding and you have made an assumption based off what you hear without the knowledge of what these people do in their actual lives or any kind of work that they're doing. You are discrediting their work because you think they're trauma bonding based on relationships that they've not had or had with their fathers that you can't qualify because you don't know them. Like, that is my exact point. You don't know these people. You are not speaking about people in real life that you're able to qualify or disqualify. That's my point.
Okay.
Here you go, pretty dumb, right? And pretty dishonest. Just being dishonest, being disingenuous. Man, we are making our observation off of the people who claim to be healed, right? And here's the funny thing about it. Like I said, nobody's going to say it, but you have Bo. She's a great example. You've been divorced, right? But every time somebody brings up marriage, right, and they have to bring in divorce, you get triggered by that. You should be healed by that. And you should be able to tell other woman, yes, man, divorce is something big. So this is what but she's not going to want to talk about that. So you're not healed, right? But this is a great example. But of course, nobody's going to say that. And here, Pretty's not going to, once again, Pretty's just disingenuous. And she knows nobody's going to say that, right? But of course, I bet you she will be in denial about Bo. And say, nah, there's nothing wrong with Bo. I feel like Bo's healed. Cut it out. We can only see that you're healed by your works, not by what you say. Pretty wants to use the idea that, well, this is just stuff that you hear on the internet and it's parroted and yada yada. You don't really have no way of being able to tell. The only way we have to being able to tell, right, that women who claim to be healed aren't healed are the ones that we see. Once again, these women who are on TikTok are no different than Bo. They will talk about, I'm pretty sure they will give these women advice. I mean, think about it, guys. If you have a little girl who gets a breakup, right, she picks a piss poor man, right? She picks a piss poor dude to date and he does her wrong, right? And she goes to TikTok and she wants to look for some advice about healing, right? She's been hearing about healing. she goes on TikTok, because that's where you're gonna go for your female advice, what do you think she's gonna see? She's gonna see a bunch of black women saying what? You know, black women on TikTok are not giving advice to other black women and saying, hey, this is how you should want to treat a man. This is how you get a good man. No, they will teach them, hey, this is how you want to heal. Focus on yourself. You don't need no man. You don't need no man. And then when you do get a man, make sure, man, that you're the one that's running that relationship. This is something that a healed woman, quote unquote, would say. This is something that pretty intellectual would say. This is something that Bo would say. We've seen plenty of women on these panels day in and day out, and that's going to be her problem. We're talking about a panel. That's not real. Ma'am, we can only judge based off of what we see. Somehow, some way she's intellectual, right? Somehow, some way she's intellectual. Somehow, some way she is an intellect. That doesn't make any sense, but I mean, to her point, somebody truthfully could say, man, hey, well, listen, what Bo right now and what Pretty Intellectual is saying, the video that we're watching, that ain't real, right? What Bo and what Pretty is saying is fake, and did it, like, it's just like, man, bro, it's just like, Pretty, you can't be this dishonest. You can't be this wildly dumb, right? Come on, man. It's just the mental gymnastics that she's trying to put us through. And then she says it's a trendy topic. Pretty, who's behind the trendy topic? We just saw it. Black women. We just saw black women are behind a trendy topic. And instead of simply holding the sisters accountable, this is the issue that we have with Pretty. Instead of holding the sisters accountable, she will be disingenuous and overlook what black women got going on. P.I. is doing the very thing that she is saying you shouldn't do. Made an assumption off of an assumption. So then somebody else says P.I. is an immature, draining moron. Then somebody else says, I have never heard a man say anything about healing unless something physical has happened to him. Then somebody else says she needs therapy. Yes, she does, badly. Then somebody else says that lady is miserable. Every time she speaks, it's the same talking points regardless of what people say to her. Yeah. It's to make women out to be victim. It's to absolve women from all accountability. That's your sisterhood. Then somebody else says, why is she acting like the internet age hasn't caused people to do their real life socialization on the internet? If an AA meeting is doing via streaming, that's a real thing, right? So then somebody else says, damn, Willie just let Bo into changing what type of man says healing. Is that his mother? So then somebody else says she never argues the actual point. She's forever moving the goalposts and dismissing things that don't align with her thought. And this is why we say she's intellectually dishonest, right? She's intellectually dumb, right? Because she know how to move the goalposts, and that's your black woman today. Literally, that's your black woman today, man. So y'all guys, let me know down below, man, what do y'all guys think? Do me a huge favor, leave me a like, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel. To the next one.